is.
Well, there it is. Patch 1.30.2 is live. This patch brings with it balance changes and an overhaul to how realms are linked and custom games work. To update to the latest patch, click on Battle.net. Once the update is complete, click on the magnifying glass next to Battle.net to select your gateway, depending on where you live or what gives you the best ping. I decided to check out custom games right away. The grey text represents the region that is hosting the custom game, the white text represents the custom game name, and the yellow numbers represent the players currently in the lobby for the hosted custom game. Double clicking on the custom games didn't work very well for me the first time, but I did find a way in by typing in the game name specifically and then clicking on join game. In the lobby, you can see the ping of the players on the right hand side. Green represents a good ping, with red indicating high latency for that player. I figured I'd give the custom game a go since I'm here, making sure that it all worked. I personally didn't experience any crashes or lag issues. I had 32 ping in this US West hosted hero line war. However, a message did come up at the start of the game saying, "Warning, game desync by player, I'm fly man." So he had actually disconnected. Whether he actually just crashed or Alt F4'd, I don't actually know. But hopefully there's not too many crash issues. If you guys do experience them, then let me know in the comment section below. And hopefully others might have a fix for that. But personally, going into just one game, I didn't have a problem playing it. So the game played fine. It was a pleasure to just hop into the game and just play without an intricate setup required with bots. My panda was a beast, but at least he couldn't, well, he could do well, but he just couldn't quite handle the 100% bash from the enemy hero wailing down on him whilst he was last standing versus the enemy wave of minions. So that game was pretty cool and epic, but it came to an end nonetheless, which is good because I needed to make further tests. So after the game, I decided to try hopping into multiple other games just to see if I could enter the lobby without trouble. Double clicking the games on the list actually worked this time, so it was nice and smooth. If you saw a game, double click it. Hopefully you can join it before it gets filled up. So if the game had started because you had joined as the last player, but someone actually still beaten you to it, so that meant that you couldn't join in. So say for example you join at 9 out of 10, you join but another person joins, but they get in there quicker. You still got to download the map. It would just let you know that the game had started, so you couldn't actually, get into it, but you still got to download the map. Speaking of download, the download time seemed very fast, although most map sizes are not really that large for today's standards. It's pretty understandable. So after this, I decided to host a map myself just to see if anyone could join the lobby. To my delight, they could, which means that port forwarding is no longer an issue. At least we hope. So previously I couldn't host because my port forwarding wasn't set up properly. This has been the case for many players who wanted to host their own games or invite other players to play 2 vs 2 on the ladder, for example. So now everyone should be able to host or invite for melee gameplay on the ladder without problems, I'm sure. So this is pretty good news so far, wouldn't you agree? Being able to create your own custom games and play with anyone across the world. It's pretty damn awesome. It looks bright. So what we're going to do now is go over the patch notes. Just a quick reminder though guys, if you are enjoying this video, please make sure to thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Click the notification bell to find out more. Warcraft free wise, because that's what I do. Warcraft free. You get it here. WTiiWarcraft, of course. So, with that said, let's go over the patch notes. And Pete Stillwell says, "Hail! We're going to go over these notes. Specific changes and improvements." Right, so the installation now supports verification of reforged pre-purchase or legacy keys. So those that have bought or pre-purchased, should I say, Warcraft 3 Reforged, they should now be able to use their keys to basically play Classic, which is what we're playing right now. So Reign of Chaos, the Frozen Throne. Previously people weren't able to play, now you should be able to. They've added a filter for lobby name, added a filter for map name, so you can see when I was showing you in previous bits a couple of minutes ago how you'd have the custom game name, but you'd also have like the region beforehand in grey text and the number of players in yellow text afterwards. So very clear, very concise, very useful. Maps will now be uploaded and downloaded from the cloud. That did seem to be quite fast. That's good. All custom maps from all gateways are now visible. Yep, we know that much. Port forwarding is no longer required to host your favorite map for custom games, which we just covered. It's super useful. Network traffic is encrypted, so I guess that's just security measures. Updated custom game listing to have all games for filtering, but list still shows the first 100 games, so you get up to 100 games. And I noticed that when I was typing in, say for example, VAMP, that's for vamp, so vampirism. So that would bring up those maps. And yeah, the sort of like filtering seemed pretty good. I'm sure with a bit more testing or something we can find maybe issues with it. But if you guys have any thoughts on that, let me know. But from me just logging in for about half an hour or so and playing the game, it seemed fine. Added a region filter to custom game filter. That's fine. So if you only wanted to play with EU, you can do so. But bear in mind that the one custom game that I did decide to play was US West. So that's not exactly right next door, seeing as I live in Europe and I had 32 ping. Seemed fine to me. Added auto refresh of game information if less than 100 games on the list. So as long as there's up to 100 games, the refresh rate of those games should be pretty fast, so you can find out how many players are genuinely in them. I don't know why I struggle with that word, but there we go. Genuinely. That's the word of the day. Use it once today, everyone in the chat. Everyone that's watching this video, go ahead. Added auto refresh. Yeah, we just did that. Custom games that are full of cannot be joined or grayed out on games list, refresh to remove. So it should be automatically removing the stuff that is filled, already started, and refreshing with the lobbies of how many players are in the game. So basically it's keeping it as fresh as it possibly can do, giving you the right correct information, which is very useful for if you want to play your game. It's going to be very frustrating if every single game you join, even though it says 2 out of 10, it says that game has started. That game has started. You cannot join. You know, the idea is that it's going to be flowing smoothly and concisely, so you get the right information at the right time to make the right decision. Added kick and ban to player menu. I haven't tested this. I did host the clan TD, but that was just to make sure people could join the lobby, so I knew that port forwarding worked, but I didn't want to like kick people out or do anything like that. I just wanted to get out of that game as soon as I hosted it, made sure that worked. So that's something I'll test in later times, but being able to control the players that come in and join your games will be very handy. Limited color menu to selectable colors, I guess. Okay. For arranged forces, changing player color will change player slot in the game list. So I don't quite know that one. Hosts have the asterisk next to their name, so yes, you could see that if you was paying close attention, so you know who the host is, so you can always ask them to say, hey host, please hold a spot for my friend. You could try that. Latency is shown on the right side of the player list. Yep, we saw that. Green text being good, or at least very good, and red being not so good. Improved peer-to-peer map transfer to increase download speed. Yeah, I noticed incredible download speeds. Game lobby is hosted in the cloud in closest supported data center to host, so that's fair enough. Host leaving will not end the game. Now, that's what I was curious about. When I left the clan TD, I did try to get back onto the custom game list to try to search for it, but I didn't see it in there. So I thought it actually did just delete the game, but apparently not. What it must have done is someone else must have joined after I left, and then the game sort of started from that point. But I haven't done any further testing, so I can't say exactly how that works. But theoretically, it says the host leaving will not end the game, which is really good if that's true, because that means that, you know, 12 people can join a game, and then if the host leaves, well, that's it. No, it just moves on, hopefully. Someone else gets the host position, someone else joins the game, and then everyone else can continue playing. That's very good if that's the case. So the host commands are ban, unban, close all, open all, hold, holds, swap, abort, kick. So that's all pretty obvious what it means. So ban is obviously to remove, unban is to, you know, allow them to come back in. You can close all the slots so you don't want anyone to join in. You can open the slots so everyone can join. You can hold a person's name. That's more important for you guys that are hosting custom games with your friends, but your friend is that guy that takes 5 minutes to join. Trust me, I know. I have quite a few people in my chat. Hey, Witchy, I'd really like to play a game with you. All right, okay, that's great, mate. Here's the game name. Here's all the details. Type that into custom game. Okay. And then like 10 minutes later, they finally work out how to do it. So yeah, you can always do hold, so you can allow that player to get in. So what that will do is it will leave a spot open, or at least if the game is full, at the very least, I don't know if this is definitely the case, but if the game is full with other players, it will boot one of them out that isn't the player that's trying to join. You see what I mean? Like, so if player Z joins, he gets kicked out because you have already held a position for your friend who's now just joined the game. They've kicked Z out. Anyway. Swap, that basically swaps the position, so perhaps someone doesn't want to be player red that normally has to control the way that the start of the map works with all the decisions and the options, so you can always swap it with someone that says they're more experienced. Abort means probably just, you know, end the game, end the lobby, kick everyone out, and kick is, well, remove a particular player. So yeah, the bans was to make sure that that player doesn't join again, unless you unban them. Player commands, mute, unmute. Okay, that's just to shut someone up. Bug fixes, desyncs, observer API, custom game sound files, Breath of Fire translated in Italian, was it? Okay, I didn't know that was a bug, but there you go. So that's all fine. Make of that what you will. Known issues. A host leaving a LAN game sometimes removes other players. So they still got some issues by the looks of it. Custom Hero Survivor has a desync with random ability related to legacy code. So, Custom Hero Survival. No, it's still going to have desync issues. Ban command is not functioning when typed, but does function from the drop-down menu. So you need to use the drop-down menu for that for the time being. Instantly joining the custom game after it is created will cause errors and prevent the game from being listed for a period of time. Oh dear. So just be careful with that. You can get some errors, but generally speaking, I sometimes had a message pop up saying so-and-so couldn't be done, but it allowed me to join anyway, so yeah. Those messages, you might not want to take too much notice of them. If the host leaves a LAN game, all remaining players will instantly be taken to the score screen. Oh, a LAN game. Well, I guess that doesn't really affect us. No, I don't think many people are playing with LAN. Leaving and rejoining a lobby with full observers can cause a crash if at least one player is on a Mac. Well, again, who's using a Mac? PC for life. Players may become desynchronized when a custom games starts using the Third World War Reborn. Wow, okay, that's specific. Alright, now we get to the balance patches. Oh, it's Human's time to... Oh. So, hero balance changes. Archmage, Brilliance Aura, level 3 mana regeneration, increased from 1.75 to 2.0. Now, that looks like a buff, but I don't remember the exact numbers, but I'm pretty sure level 3 mana regeneration actually used to be 2.25 before the nerfs. So this is one of the stupid things, is they nerfed like so much of human, and then whilst it looks like they're buffing it back up, they're not really buffing it because it's still technically nerfed from what it was beforehand. Anyway, Blood Mage, yeah, Flame Strike now takes less time to cast. Okay. It's an incredibly powerful ability though, really, so it made sense that it had some delay to it. I think the delay was really annoying people that were less experienced with the game and would move their hero after casting the spell, or if he got like impaled during the casting time. But that was part of the trick of how it worked. But whatever, it's faster to cast. People still ain't gonna play him though. Keeper of the Grove. Well, they're not going to play him first, hero. They'll play him like second or third, maybe. Keeper of the Grove, Force of Nature, treant damage reduced from 16 to 15. It's something. I think there should be slightly more done with that. I think Force of Nature should cost something like 115 mana or 110. At 100 mana, it's so dirt cheap that the Keeper of the Grove just doesn't care. Before you know it, he's got like 9 of the buggers in your base. Entangling Roots, level 2, so level 1 hasn't been changed, but level 2 and 3, so level 1's still a big problem, because level 2 is where it gets really strong onwards. So level 1 isn't the biggest issue, but he's still very strong at the start. He has so much game control at the start. So level 1 not being changed or adapted in any way is a bit concerning. So level 2 reduced by 1 second, level 3 reduced by 1 second. This is versus heroes, I assume. Because versus units, it lasts for like 18 to 36 seconds at level 2 and 3, pretty much. So they need to be a bit more specific with that. Warden gets +1 intelligence. Go Warden. Pitlord gets +1 agility. Go Pitlord. Yeah, okay. I can't really argue with those. I mean, they're a bit of buffs to heroes that don't particularly get used often, so fair enough. Not exactly amazing though. Orc balance changes. Tauren Totem now got nerfed in its health because the way it worked is orcs used to build a spirit lodge because they would go for their casters, which were all in the same building, that spirit lodge. But the spirit lodge, I think, has like 900 health. Now they build the Tauren totem because typically they'll go with spirit walkers over the shaman and the witch doctors, because spirit walkers are a huge part of the orc meta, and not so much the witch doctors and the shaman. So they made it so that the building is more vulnerable to attacks at tier 2. So if a player is harassing your base whilst you're trying to get your spirit lodge up, it's probably going to die. When you had a Tauren totem, it's less likely to die because he's got that extra 300 health. Now it's just as vulnerable as the spirit lodge. So bad news for orcs. Human balance changes. Priest gets a mana regeneration increase by 0.05. Okay. I mean, yep. I mean, the idea really what Blizzard need to do with human is to make it so the Archmage isn't the be-all and end-all hero, because he pretty much is. So if you made it so that the casters for human stand on their own a bit better with their mana regeneration rates, and the other heroes performed better, it would be more likely that you could see other strategies being played other than Archmage first. So this is a step in the right direction, but I don't think 0.05 is going to make enough of a difference to say, oh, okay, I guess I can go Paladin Rifle Priest now. No, you're still pretty much better off going Paladin and pure rifles, because Priests will run out of mana after not too much time. So you're better off having that one extra food into a Rifleman that's actually performing. Spellbreaker, Tech Tree, Control Magic now requires Keep instead of Castle. Well, now you can use the Spellbreaker's Control Magic, because that's also been reduced. So mana requirement reduced from 45% of enemy health to 35%. So this is good. It means Spellbreakers are going to be a bit more dominant at tier 2, so maybe they're trying to make some changes so that people don't go too many rifles. But they still probably will, because they're still the only good human unit left. But yeah, no, that's alright. It means tier 2 you can now potentially control an enemy. But the problem with the control magic typically, I mean it's not terrible because you never use it otherwise, but it's control magic is risky. People say, why don't people use control magic more often? Because if you are taking control of an enemy summon that is almost dead, because you can only take control of it whilst it's almost dead because of its health, the mana requirements, which is 45% of its health. So say, for example, previously, if the unit had 1000 health, you would need 45% of it, 450. Well, the Spellbreaker doesn't have 450 mana, so we're talking about more about, let's say, for example, 500 health. So the unit would have to be at like 225 health for you to control it, and that would pretty much use up almost all your mana as a Spellbreaker. And then if they're smart, they'll just focus that unit that you just controlled and get the experience from it. So it's all about, you wouldn't want to do it because it would just give the enemy experience. So now making it cheaper, it means it's less punishing, basically. Anyway, I talked enough about that. Cannon Tower, base stats, build time reduced from 75 to 65, gold cost reduced from 200 to 150. You will still probably only see this in 4 versus 4 RT or niche 1 versus 1 strategies. Otherwise, Cannon Tower is still way too much for what it's worth, realistically. Night Elf balance changes. Huntress, base stats, decreased base damage from 16 to 15. So it used to be 17 to 19, to 16 to 18, and now it's, what? Base damage from 16 to 15. Oh, I see. 17 to 9, okay, yeah. So I think they might still be better than what they were, if you know what I mean. It's a bit similar to the human changes, because Huntress has got 2 buffs in the previous 2 patches, and this is knocking them down 1 step. So I can't remember all the stats off the top of my head, so you guys will have to let me know. But I get the feeling that the Huntresses are still better off than they were like a few patches ago. Anyway, so Sentinel is an upgrade again, so it means they no longer get it for free, so that reduces their their early game control. 100 to 100 cost. 20 seconds research. Ancient of War requires Hunter's Hall. No longer requires Tree of Ages. So, wow. You know, that's quite pricey in a way when you think about it. So it went from being free to now being 100 cost research. Well, it requires Hunter's Hall, obviously. So yeah, like that goes to show you how broke things were for quite some the last few months. You guys were like, no, Night Elf's fine. Yeah, okay. So I would love to see a change to defend. I don't think there is a change to defend. We all know that defend has been made worse, yet it's still incredibly expensive. 150 gold is one thing, but 100 wood is a hell of a lot to a human early game. Human have really important priorities with their lumber. And when they use militia, they're not getting lumber, but they have to use militia to creep to get the power. So it's a bit of a conundrum. So basically, human have very little lumber early game. So they also want a tech, they also want a fast expand, but they also need towers because enemies are very good at harassing humans and killing their peasants. So we would like to see a change to defend cost, please. The footmen aren't complete garbage. And I would suggest, personally, 75 gold and 50 wood, personally. Because 150 gold and 100 wood is way too much. Now, Druid of the Talon. Gold reduced from 150 to 145, that's fine. Basically, Druid of the Talon weren't getting played. But that wasn't because they're bad. That was just because everything else of Night Elf was amazing at tier 1. Because Blizzard overbuffed everything. So I'm a bit worried about this. Because I don't think this actually needs to happen. Druids of the Talon are amazing units. Like, 145 gold is dirt cheap for them. It's still cheaper than sorceresses. I think sorceresses are like 155 gold. But Druid of the Talon with Cyclone, which is just astronomically better than Polymorph in every single way, shape, and form. I don't think this is a smart change, this one. It seems like a tiny thing, 5 gold. But the last thing I want to see is Druids of the Talon meta again, where Night Elves just go 3 heroes and 100 food of Druids of the Talon. That tells you something. When they're building only one type of unit, you might think it's a little bit strong. Glaive Throwers, base stats, base damage decreased from 50 to 44. Well, that was needed, but I don't know if it's enough. They got like a 50% damage buff in the previous patch, whereas decreasing their base damage from 50 to 44 is certainly not reducing it by 50%, so they could still be ridiculously strong glaive throwers, but it's hard to tell just off that number. Undead balance changes. Acolytes have been reduced in movement speed from 250 to 235. I think that's fair enough because they were a little bit too fast. I think people assume that this makes them back to normal speed. It doesn't. I'm pretty sure that Acolytes probably moved at something like 210 movement speed before they got buffed. So 235 is still pretty quick. It's just not Ferrari quick as 250. And items. Wand of Lightning Shield. Duration reduced from 20 seconds to 10 seconds. So this reduces the total damage from 400 to 200, which is a welcome change because human players get destroyed by this item. Absolutely destroyed. Like, Wand of Lightning Shield can literally win you the game within the first 4 or 5 minutes if you're lucky enough to get it. The meta actually was for enemy players. Say, for example, you're playing human. Your opponent would, if they know the map well enough, creep the creeps that had the potential chance to drop Wand of Lightning. Particularly on Amazonia, this was an issue. And it was removed from Amazonia on War 3 Arena. And then when Blizzard took over, basically, and War 3 Arena died off, they had their Amazonia map, but they didn't remove Wand of Lightning with their version. And then we had that issue, if you remember, a long time ago. Oh, it was TH's brother, wasn't it? I'm trying to remember his name now. Of course, I can't remember his name, but I can remember TH's name, just off the top of my head, because I'm doing this live. Yeah, anyway, he basically left within like the first 3 minutes of the game because of the way Lightning Shield. That wasn't actually because of the enemy getting Lightning Shield, but it was because the creeps used Lightning Shield and basically made it so he couldn't creep his thing without taking too much damage. It was a funny meme moment. But yeah, Lightning Shield is a nightmare. I would like to see more items that are chargeable, that have different styles and flavor. Sentry Ward and Lightning Shield are a little bit strong, in my opinion. Whereas if you had items that were, say, for example, Wand of Neutralization, I think that was an item from Reign of Chaos where it would dispel up to 200 hit points, or, you know, do like 200 damage to summoned units, and it would bounce. Like, you could make a few tampers with that so it wasn't too strong. But basically what we want, I think, is more flair with chargeable items, because it's a little bit dull. You either get Wand of Lightning Shield, you get Sentry Ward, or you get Replenishment Potion. Replenishment Potion is nice in the right situations, but compared to Sentry Ward, it's garbage. Like, Sentry Ward, 2 charges for 10 minutes, basically, I'm pretty sure, of vision on anywhere you want is insane. Like, the chargeable items can be all changed. They can all be, well, we can get new ones, and we can sort of balance around that if we want to make the game a bit more interesting to play for the early game, because I think that would make it more interesting. More chargeable items means that you interact with your units and the enemy's units differently. Like, if you get Lightning Shield, it is an interesting item. It means you can use it on your Grunt, you can throw it into the enemy's Peon line, or you can use it on the enemy Rifleman when they're all bunched together and they're running away, and then the enemy's got to move his Rifleman out of the way. So it encourages sort of interaction, and that's what I would like to see. So yeah, balance-wise, this is very lackluster, this patch, and this won't deal with the Night Elf meta quite enough. It will help, because Night Elf definitely got some bits that were too strong for them toned down. So we can definitely take, you know, pride in that and be happy. But they're still going to be pretty damn strong. So Human is still suffering a lot. I think further balance changes are needed, but overall this is a very good patch, because what it was really trying to do is deal with the whole custom game scenario that Blizzard were trying to tackle before going into Reforged. Obviously they got some time, but they want to get this stuff sorted now, so everyone can play with each other from across the world. Custom games should work. You can create your own. You don't have to worry about port forwarding. Stuff like that is pretty damn amazing for the average player on Warcraft 3. There's the new player that just wants to hop in and play, to see those custom games, just to join, pick up, play, have fun. That map was cool. Maybe I'll make it again. Maybe I'll check out this other map that's being hosted. It was so easy now. So very, very good patch. Well done, Blizzard, on that. I think that's why we got basically minimal balance changes, because Blizzard want to make a few changes, see how the meta changes with that, and then, you know, update it with more changes, because this by far is not where the balance stops by a long shot. This is just a minor balance change, but the main bulk of the patch is by far the custom game changes and everyone being able to play with each other. So thank you very much everyone for watching. If you are still watching at this point, make sure to click that thumbs up button. If you didn't already, even though I reminded you earlier, please click that. That does help a lot. And if you do decide to subscribe, which I would very much appreciate it if you did, for more Warcraft 3 content, make sure to click the notification bell, because that will basically work then, and you will actually get my videos. So thank you very much everyone. Have a great day. Take care. I'll see you later. Bye bye.